It's time to turn the heel. We cast on at the toes, we increased to shape the toe section, we learned how to add a custom band of color work, we knitted the instep, we created the gusset increase. Now it's time to turn the heel. On my sample sock, this is where we are. So you can see here, if you follow the same way of increasing and carry these 2 purl stitches at the end, this is what you're going to have, this neat finished look. It's also a little stretchy. No holes and no gaps because we used this unusual way of increasing stitches and twisting the second stitch. And now we have to work this heel turn to make the turn up towards the heel flap. So let's redistribute the stitches first. While I work the heel turn, I will only work on the stitches between the markers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the end of this knitting needle with this needle stopper. Then I'm going to knit to this needle marker, to the stitch marker. I'm working across the 12 gusset increases. Come to my stitch marker. I take the stitch marker off and I put this needle stopper on the other end of the needle. So these stitches will wait until I finish the heel turn. Now I need to do that on the other side as well. Put the stopper here and just move over the 12 increase gusset stitches to this needle. Take off the stitch marker and put the stopper at the end of this needle as well. If you don't have these rubber stoppers, you can leave the stitches on the marker. You can use one of the stitch holders if you have that. If you have none of those, you can just get a longer needle and keep them on a longer needle altogether. Okay, now I'm going to get all of these stitches onto one needle. Heel turn, we will work in short rows, so 2 needles will be enough for that work. And now we are ready. Our first short row, to avoid making a gap or hole here, pull the yarn tight. Work the stitches across. As they come to you, when you have 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches left, 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going to wrap yarn around the first of the 4 stitches and put it back. Pull the yarn tight, turn your work, Now purl back 1. Work the stitches as they come to you. When you have 4 stitches left, you will wrap the yarn around the first one, put it back, pull the yarn tight, and turn your work. Now work across, stitches as they come. There are various techniques of doing short rows for heel turn. For this project, I chose this approach because it allowed me to have very tight and neat finishing that I didn't need to use a sewing needle at the end. So here we get to, remember the wrapped stitch, so one before the wrapped stitch, you're going to wrap your yarn around that one, pull it tight, and turn your work. Work back until one stitch before the wrapped stitch. You will know when you get to that point because there will be a gap between after your wrapped stitch, so you want one before that. You will put the yarn around the stitch to wrap it and come back. We work to one stitch before the wrap. See here, I have 2 gaps because I have 2 wraps. This is the one stitch before the previous wrap. Put it back, pull tight and turn. Work back. See, gap, wrap, gap, wrap. So now the next one is this one. I wrap the stitch, I turn my work around. See, I have 1, 2, 3 wraps. These gaps will close. I promise you. I'll show you in a moment what it will look like. Don't let them scare you because they do look big, but when we start working our way further into the turn, you will see them close. Gap, and this is the one we wrap. Pull tight, turn around, work back. See the gap that was wrapped, now you wrap this one. See gap, wrap. The next one to wrap is right here. Hold tight, turn, work back. There's the gap, wrap. Next one is this to wrap. Hold tight, turn your work. See, there's the gap, the wrap, and now you wrap this one. Pull tight, turn around. If this happens, you see how it dropped? You don't have to turn again. You can put it here, put the yarn in the front, take it back to the needle and pull tight, and you did it again. Work your way back. Gap, wrap, the next one to wrap. There you go. You can always tell by stopping to look carefully. All right, so we have 7 stitches in the middle. That can be the depth of your heel. On the sample, I worked to 3 stitches in the middle to show you how sharp it will be if you go that far. If we stop now, the heel is going to look like this. That's what you're going to do. But I want you to be able to, as you do this, to learn. So if you wanted a deeper heel, then you can do this. You can go all the way to have a pointy heel. I'm looking here at the toe section, and you see I had 8 with 8 stitches here. And then if I limit myself to 7, it's going to look very nice together being the same width. So that's why on the actual sock of our design, we're not going to go to this point. I just wanted you to see on this mock-up here, my teaching sock, what happens if you go further. But we're not going to go further. We're going to start turning. Now, you see here, if you have been worried about these wrapped stitches making holes, you can see how they close. I'm going to put my hand inside to show you. To show you that they do close. You don't have holes, and you have a reinforced line because of those wraps. Now, if you would like to reinforce it more, if you wear your socks a lot and they wear out quickly, you can certainly come with a sewing needle. But if you don't expect to have that problem, you're going to be just fine finishing like this. And here we can take another look on the way we increased for the gusset and created this nice line, very defined, very straight. Now, it's not going to work for every sock design, but for this project, it works. And on other projects, we will practice other strategies as well. Okay, let's get back to our current sock. Here we are. We have finished wrapping. We have 7 stitches in the middle. Now we are going to work ourselves out of this. So we are going to knit the center 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this 8th one is wrap, which we're going to work now. Going to take the stitch over, pick up the wrap, put both the wrap and the stitch together, and I'm going to knit them together. very careful, tight, and it closed without a gap. I turn, I slip the first stitch, I knit to the next wrap, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here's my next wrap. I take the stitch over, I pick up the wrap, I put the stitch back on the needle. Now this is purl side, so I'm going to purl both the wrap and the stitch together very tightly and neatly, and I'm going to turn the work. Slip the first stitch, work to the next wrap. Now, if you're trying this approach for the first time and you're having a hard time keeping all these stitches from stretching, it's okay. I will show you in the finishing steps how to close any stretched stitches, but keep trying it. It will work, I promise. So now this is the next one. I pick it up. I pick up the wrap, put it together with the stitch. Now knit the wrap and the stitch tightly together. See how come they come together next to each other? I turn the work, keep everything tight and neat. Purl back to the wrapped stitch on this side. This is the wrapped stitch, this is the wrap. Put them together and now purl them tightly together. And now turn your work. Slip the first stitch, work over to the next one. You can see the turn happening already. This is the wrapped stitch. Take it, pick up the wrap, put them together, knit those two things together very tightly and neatly. See how they're coming next to each other? The key is in keeping things tight and neat with patience when you're working this type of the short row. Turn for the heel, but as I said, if you get a stretched stitch, 1 or 2, do not stress out, do not undo your work. In the finishing steps video, we will look at ways to take care of those things. We can clearly see the turn happening. Stitch, wrap together, work them together very tightly, turn, slip, work, wrapped stitch, the wrap, together, work them together, tight, turn your work, slip the stitch, work, wrapped stitch, the wrap, pick it up, put them together, work them together, tight, turn, slip, work. When you work with thin yarn on projects like socks, even and steady tension of your yarn becomes very important, especially in places that shaping requires things to be very tight and closed, like here. So if you have a tendency to knit loose stitches, slow down in these places and intentionally make sure you're pulling the working yarn tight and keeping the tension even. Stitch was wrapped, pick the stitch up, pick up the wrap, put them together, work them together, turn, keep things tight, slip the stitch, do not work it, then work. Now this pass on the purl side helps us resolve the last short row, or the first short row actually. We only have one more wrapped stitch here, so we will grab the stitch, pick up the wrap, put them together, work them together, and now we continue to the end. 1, 2, 3. As we come back now, see we have these. This turn is finished. You can see we don't have big holes. If you are noticing that there are holes, that your stitches were not tight, make sure to check out the video of this project with finishing steps where I will show you how you can use the sewing needle to reinforce those and to close them up. Depending on the type of your yarn, this ladder here may be more or less clear, but your little holes you can see through should not be bigger than your normal stitches holes. You should not have like big gaps, only as big as your yarn shows when you're knitting with the needles you have chosen. Now you can go with extra thin needles and make your knitting very tight, but this sock does not require that. It's more of a slipper sock. So here we go. 1. Oh, I want to count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 20, 2, 4, 5. Gonna knit 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now I take my 5th needle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That was my 9, 12. Uh-oh, hold on. Did I miscount? 2. Let's count again. We want to have equal number of stitches on each needle. Let's count again. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And the middle stitch we will keep here for 13. Okay. We have finished the heel turn. Here are our toes. You can fold it over. They nicely match. And now we are ready to go to the next video to work our way up for the heel flap. So we are now right here in the process. Now we go to heel flap, and then we will do a short cuff and a fold over edge. We will learn how to do that so it can stay stretchy. Okay, next video, heel flap. Be sure you finish your heel turn first, and then we proceed up for the heel flap. I hope you're having fun and getting some ideas for your own sock designs.